First thing we're going to do is find a photo. Just pick whatever you would like to work on. You can get it from a camera or any other media device. We're going to get a JPEG off of the internet, a gas mask that I found, and just save it to somewhere that you will remember it, so that when you go to open Photoshop and retrieve the image, you won't have a hard time finding it. Saving it to images. Alright, now that we have our file, it's time to begin working on it. We're going to open up Photoshop. Now to retrieve our new file, we're going to go to File. It gives you a couple options. You can use Open or Open Recent. Recent is just some of the stuff that you've been doing recently. We're going to go to Open and back to the Images folder where we saved our original image. Back into Images, double click on our gas mask, and Photoshop will bring it up for you. Now we're going to create a workable layer. Highlight your image in your Layers panel, and then you're going to go to Layer at the top of the screen, hold down the menu, go to New, and Layer via Copy or Control J. You'll see a new layer of your image pop up in the Layers panel. Now we're ready to use some of the selection tools. We're going to start with the lasso. Make sure that layer 1 is selected and not your background. Select your lasso from the tools panel. And this is good for making rough selections where you don't need it to be exact. As you can see, I can just circle this. You can add pieces using Shift. Hold down Shift while you do an extra selection. You can also unselect little pieces using Alt. And there you have your selection. You can move it around. You can see the image is still there because the background is still showing. You can turn that off and you'll see what I've selected and move it out of the copy. Alright, another selection tool is the magic wand. To use the magic wand, select it from your toolbar. Make sure that you have layer 1 selected, as usual. That's your tolerance, and that will decide how much contrast this will select between. And then you click whatever you want to select. You can cut it or delete it. In this case, I'm just cutting it, and you can see that that layer is gone once you take the background out. Now that we've learned how to select, we're ready for adjustment layers. After you select your image, here I have the gas mask selected. You can see it's over here again. Always make sure that you've got the layer selected that you want to be working on. Down here are your adjustment layers. We're going to use a color balance layer just for example. You can mess around with all the different colors in your image. It'll pull out the reds, the cyans, just about any color in your image. You can accentuate them or pull them out or make them more prominent than the other colors. You can also do highlights and shadows, and this will mess with the colors in certain bright brightness areas. The shadows would be the darker areas. The highlights would be the lighter areas. You could just play around with these. Mostly you need to actually use the adjustment layers to get a good idea of what they do. The second adjustment layer we'll look at is the levels adjustment layer. You select it from your adjustment layers, go to levels, then select this. This is particularly good for lightening and darkening your image or correcting an over or underexposed image. It's also great if you're just doing artistic stuff or just playing around with an image. So you can see what it does. Just get it where you like it. Press OK, and you'll see that your layer is created right above layer 1 in your layer panel. Now we're going to have a look at layer masks. A layer mask comes attached to every adjustment layer you make. It's the little white box right next to your adjustment layer. I've created an adjustment layer with an adjustment mask just for this tutorial, and here is your adjustment mask. To work on it, make sure it's selected, and then you use the paintbrush tool right here, and make sure that your colors are default. And then painting on this mask will either erase the adjustment layer that you've put on and let the layers below it show through, or let the layer through, depending on if you have black or white selected. If you watch here, you can get rid of the layer just piece by piece, so only certain parts of it are showing. See? Get rid of all this blue down here if you want to. This could be done with any adjustment layer. Assuming that we've done everything we want to do to the image, it's time to finish our project. To do that, we have to flatten our image. Now say that this is done, and this is exactly what we want our finished project to look like. We go to Layer, then Flatten Image. This will combine all of your layers into one final product. Make sure that you're done by this stage because it's very difficult to go back. It'll ask you if you want to discard hidden layers so that you have exactly what you see before you. And that's it. It'll flatten your image into one image. Now that we have the image we want, we're ready to resize it. To do this, we're going to go to Image, Image Size, and then you can set it to whatever you want. You can use pixels, or you can do it by inches. Make sure that you keep the proportions the same, and that will make it so if you change one number, it'll automatically change the other so it doesn't distort your image. Okay. I'll resize it for you. Now if you need to use something, this has, say, a wallpaper, you go to Canvas Size, under Image, change it to pixels, 1280 by 800 is my desktop resolution. So you set that, click OK. After you choose what color you want, I chose white because my background's going to be white. are. You have a complete image resized and ready to be wallpapered.